Hey, good day, brothers and sisters, fellow freedom seekers. Glad you are able to tune in with us here today. I've got some important information for you. We're in tax season, and a lot of you are scrambling, putting together receipts, paperwork, documents, filling out forms, paying your CPA, and all of those wonderful, fun, exciting things. Such a happy time of year. And others of you who are a little more advanced in your legal knowledge to understand who you are, AKA not a US citizen and not by definition a US taxpayer, you may have filed documents, affidavits, declarations, rescissions, things like that, done a lot of paperwork to establish your position as a man or a woman upon the land. But yet, nonetheless, you might be looking over your shoulder, just wondering when you're going to get a knock on that door, or AKA that envelope in the mail saying, hey, where's your returns? You haven't filed for this year. You haven't filed for last year. Maybe you haven't filed for the last 2 or 3 years. And you're getting mail wondering where your documents are. All right, we're going to talk about that specific issue regardless of where you're at. If you're still in full compliance dealing with Babylon, or if you think you're free, you need to know some of these things that I'm going to share with you here today. All right. So we're going to talk about the IRS's demand to file. Hey, where's your 1040? We haven't seen it. And I'm going to take some excerpts out of one of our documents. We have a 7-page legal research document, which we send to the IRS in affidavit form to establish the facts and the law and your intent. We'll talk about why that's so important in just a bit. But this is our filing statement that we use and send to the U.S. Treasury in addition to the IRS. And this is done in lieu of a 1040 form. All right, and I'm going to explain some details on that. So let's jump right into it. All right, right off the bat, our document says that this is a return for this tax year or such and such tax year as I can best define at 26 USC section 6103 and 6213G of the IRC and in the CFRs. As defined in these codes of the Internal Revenue Code, this is a return for the year or years such and such. This return is filed in lieu of the Internal Revenue Service Form 1040, and it satisfies the requirements of IRC 6012, Internal Revenue Code 6012. That would be Title 26 of the U.S. Code, 26 USC 6012. So it's apparent that there exists an extreme vicissitude, I love that word, of opinion in federal courts, all right, regarding which statutes govern the requirement to file income tax returns. It seems apparent to me, based upon the learned opinions from sites above listed, that a return of some sort is expected and required if I have identifiable taxable income. It then becomes a question, what is a return? In answer, there is no confusion. A return is defined at 26 U.S.C. 6103, 6213G of the IRC, and 26 CFR, that's the Code of Federal Regulations, section such and such. Okay, so that tells us what a return is. And here's the definition. The term return includes any return, note that word any, return, statement, schedule, or list, and any amendment or supplement thereto, filed with respect to any tax imposed by subtitle A or B or chapters 41 through 43, 44. This statement complies with all legal requirements and is a statement or return within the meaning of the law. All right. The question as to which statute controls a duty to file an income tax return is the subject of many judicial disputes by the top legal minds of this country, as evidenced by the following. And here's a list of court cases that you can and probably should look up, read, understand, so that you can understand the complete, let's add this word into our vocabulary now, complete vicissitude between the courts. In other words, they can't give a clear answer, all right, as to which statute governs the obligation to file. So amidst this confusion, we're going to continue anyway. In 1913, a debate on the Senate floor regarding the First Income Tax Act under the 16th Amendment was held. Senator Elihu Root commented about the complexity of that very first law. Now imagine how simple that law was compared to what it is today. And what he said is this: I guess you will have to go to jail. If that's the result of not understanding the income tax law, I shall meet you there. We shall have a merry, merry time, for all of our friends will be there. It will be an intellectual center, for nobody understands the income tax law except persons who have not sufficient intelligence to understand the questions that arise under it. That was in 1913. Imagine what's happened since then in terms of the complexity of Title 26. Okay? So if the federal district courts, tax court, court of claims, and the Supreme Court cannot definitively decide the fundamental question as to which section of the Internal Revenue Code requires the filing of an income tax return, whether the tax imposed is an excise or a direct tax, it's obvious that the average American not educated in the law will have great difficulty in understanding the tax imposed and this basic question on filing requirements and the species of the tax, among many other questions. All the confusion over an 80-page act, this was in 1913, is exponentially compounded by the current 10,000-page plus Internal Revenue Code, along with more than 30,000 pages of implementing regulations in the CFRs, Code of Federal Regulations, and some unauthorized for IRS usage from 27 CFR. Now, Title 27 in the Code of Federal Regulations has only to do with Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. That's a whole nother discussion, which I get into in my book, How I Beat Satan in the IRS, which you should have. There's some very important legal references there that you need to know. So continuing, in the light of this judicial uncertainty, I'm doing my best to understand and comply with the law and regulations. In light of the courts and indeed of Congress's inability to comprehend and agree with the interpretations within the internal revenue laws, I cannot be held responsible for any misunderstanding of the law, which I may have. Since there are no consistent rulings upon which I can depend, I'm merely doing what I consider as true, correct, and lawful. So we're establishing intent there. Good faith, a good faith attempt to follow the law. All right. The Internal Revenue Service's guidance to me in this matter is absolutely essential and is hereby demanded in the form of a rebuttal affidavit, signed and sworn by a person of authority who can be clearly identified and accountable as I am. Of course, making a subtle reference to all of the unsigned letters that go out from the IRS. Form letters, computer generated, that nobody takes responsibility for, okay? So you can see where we're going here, right? We're establishing a few key things. We're establishing a good faith attempt to comply with the law. We're establishing what we believe is the law, and based on that, it supports the actions that we're going to undertake here, okay? So here, it's impossible for me to sign the Form 1040 in that the jurat states under penalty of perjury. I attest that I understand all the matters related to this issue, thousands and thousands of pages, and I don't, as I have indicated above. Okay, and here's the jurat I've taken from the 2023 1040 form. Okay, it says here under penalties of perjury, I declare that I've examined this return and the accompanying schedules and statements which relate to the thousands and thousands of pages using terms and conditions and definitions that really I'm doing my best to try and understand, but I don't. And to the best of my knowledge and belief, they are true, correct, and complete. Well, how can you have any knowledge or belief that they're true in view of the confusion that the courts have provided you? Okay, so we can't sign a 1040 under penalties of perjury. It's just it would be a lie. If you sign this, it would be a lie because you don't understand it all. You don't understand what we just went over, the thousands and thousands of pages. You don't understand the confusion between the courts. You don't understand the fact that the Congress can't point to a single statute requiring you to file. So the point here is this filing statement is an alternative to the Form 1040. Any past admissions that I was or is at present a taxpayer have been made in error according to the court. Here, quote, in the interpretation of statutes levying taxes, it is the established rule not to extend their provisions by implication beyond the clear import of language used or to enlarge their operations so as to embrace matters not specifically pointed out. So, in other words, we can only interpret the law for exactly what it says and not enlarge the meanings or extend the reach of what was written in the statutes. Okay? So, I'm not authorized to file any form in the Form 1040 series or any other form pertaining to any internal revenue tax for the following reasons. And our document goes on to list citations of the law supporting each and every one of 24 additional points of law, which are the reasons I cannot file a Form 1040. Okay. In addition to those 24 additional points, takes up 7 pages worth, our document makes reference to additional questions related to the verified civil complaint filed with the District Court of the United States in South Dakota on May 15th, 2015. And this adds an additional 8 points of law, which was entered into the record on that case, on that lawsuit. Okay, so this is a very extensive and solid document making reference to the law and establishing your position on this particular filing statement. All right. So at this point, we've only just established the basis for what we're going to do. All right. We're just establishing the context of what we're actually doing with this filing statement. So what we're moving towards, what the document ultimately does, in summary, the affidavit establishes the law upon which I stand. Okay, this isn't some crazy crackpot theory that's been destroyed in previous court cases. This is the law as it's written, Title 26 of the U.S. Code and the CFRs and supporting court cases. So we're on solid ground. Now, please, IRS, if I am incorrect on any of these points, please correct me. So what this does, it shows that you're acting in good faith. You have a good faith, willful intent to comply with the law. What does this do? This removes any possible basis for criminal action against you. To be charged with a crime, they have to show intent to willfully violate a law that applies to you. Well, first of all, what you've done with this document, you've shown that those laws don't apply to you. And if they do, please correct your understanding. You want to comply with the law. This is my intent. This is the point of this whole document. This is what I understand in the law. Please show me where I've gone wrong in an affidavit, point for point rebuttal. All right. This filing statement is my return according to the law. All right. By definition, in 26 USC, the Internal Revenue Code. So by definition, this statement is my return. So if I don't hear from you with any counterpoints, IRS, if you can't rebut any of these points that I've made in the letter, which of course we know they can't and won't, so this is going to stand by tacit admission. Silence is consent. All right, so the record is set. So as a good American, I want to pay my fair share. I'm not trying to get out of paying taxes. Lord forbid, I would never do that. All right, so don't ever accuse me of evading taxes. I want to pay my fair share. So here's what I'm going to do. In the absence of anything more concrete, or in the absence of your point for point rebuttal, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you a money order for $35 as my goodwill contribution to the cause. All right. And if it needs to be more, and if these laws apply to me, and if you can rebut my affidavit, 24 points plus 8 more in the lawsuit, point for point, I'll be happy to comply. Just trying to help out, IRS. So here we are. All right, so this is only one document, folks. It's powerful. It's 7 pages of legal sites, and it establishes a very strong position for you that cannot be beaten, really. So this is one document of many that you're going to have access to in the IRS Freedom Course. I should probably do a short video on all what's involved in the Freedom Course. Maybe I will in the days ahead. But this is only one document. If you've got issues on demands to file, this is one answer. There are many ways to deal with that, of course, but this is one answer. And you can get that in the full membership of the Lighthouse Law Club. Now, just make a note that the IRS Freedom Course is not available in the annual membership, but the IRS Freedom Course is a bonus for the full membership as opposed to the annual membership. So just be aware of that, okay? So I hope that opens your eyes a little bit. The law is on your side. You just have to understand the law, all right? And that's what we do in the Lighthouse Law Club, is trying to help people use the law in your favor. We want everyone to be lawful. We want everyone to be straight, safe, protected, and in all the ways that are possible. And that's the whole point of being a member in the Lighthouse Law Club. So we hope you can benefit from that, and that you enjoyed the video. Please, if this is valuable, please click the like button, share it, and if you haven't, subscribe. That'll help get the word out to others, where YouTube will share the video more with others with the algorithms. All right, so that's all for now. Take care. God bless. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.